What up, y'all? I'm back with another episode of the Hood Nerd Red Pill Talk podcast. And today we talk about Miss Jeannie Mai. Let me get one of these out before I get started. This might be a long one. Now, me seeing her pregnant, I've had in my crosshairs for a couple years. I just always thought she was full of crap. Now, I had an episode lined up for a few months ago, but the George Floyd, the George Floyd ruling, and all those things happened. I just tabled it. But, I guess it was perfect timing. Because this happened, and we'll get a chance to now discuss how she and other modern women are able to play the victim after a breakup. No matter how good the guy is, they're going to turn around and say, it was your fault anyway. Because it's just the way it goes. So, the modern woman, she only feels feminine in a relationship when she's in a relationship with a guy who has some swag, some street cred, a little hood, a little thug in her. In him, I should say. Even though she got thug in her too, but that's a different episode. Today's modern woman, what she loves is, for the image, she wants the white collar guy. But that's not who she wants to marry. The white collar guy is boring. The white collar guy doesn't do it for her in the bedroom. So what does she want? Just like Phaedra, Maya Moore, who married the inmate she got out of jail, got freed out of jail. They're looking for who? The biggest accomplishment for the modern woman and the feminist is to do what? Is to turn the thug into a natural 9-to-5 white collar guy. Not gonna happen, but that would be the dream for her. See, it's never been about money. For most people, they get out here and it's, you need a high value man. High value man, mid six figures. That's what they're looking for. If it was, then why are they constantly divorcing the high value man? If that's what they're looking for. Why is it that they go procreate with the so-called Pookie and Ray Ray, the thug, the bad boy, the ladies' man? Why do they go procreate with him but won't procreate with you? Why is it they only want to procreate with you if they feel like they're in a situation where there's a big financial gain to be had? Other than that, what do they tend to do? They'll take care of the bum. They'll take care of the guy who doesn't have a job. Because for her, that's her greatest challenge. He keeps on her toes, brings some edge to the relationship, gives her the sex that she's always dreaming about. Which is, again, another thing I keep telling you. You have to understand how important sex is in a relationship. So you got a lot of old school women giving these young girls certain lessons, and they're telling them what? That sex is really not that important. That you don't need to have a taste test before you get married. What are they telling you? Abstinence is what you're looking for. You should actually be a virgin before you have sex. So she adheres to that advice, and what happens? Exactly. She ends up leaving the guy. Now she'll stay with him for a little while. She'll give it a few years. But it's just like the episode I had a couple episodes ago, where the woman was in a relationship for well over 12 years with the guy. I think it was 15 years to be exact. Not sure. But what was she doing? She was sleeping with another guy for 8 years. What did she say when she made the statement that, hey, he might be the child's father? Well, he ain't daddy material. So I'm hoping he's not the father because he ain't going to be around. So then the next question was, well, why was you sleeping with him for 8 years if you knew he wasn't father material or he's not husband material? Because he was giving her something that the child's real father couldn't give her. See, when she marries the golden boy, she's only marrying him for status, financial security, and the look. There's a look that she's looking for. There's status. There's clubs that she wants to get into. There's a look when she's out in public that she wants to get from her friends. Make her seem like, yo, this is couple goals right here. I got a white collar husband. Look at this lifestyle I'm living. And for some women, it's the financial security also. But for this modern woman, she doesn't really need the guy for his money anymore. So that's no longer an issue. That's no longer an issue either. But you do have those women who are looking for financial security. So now, all of this, though, is to paint a picture for who? For her friends. This relationship is really not for the guy. He's just more like the purse. He's an accessory. He's like the bag. The show is really for her friends. It's for the social media people staring. It's for her people at work so she can say, look at him. Now she's going to brag on him. She's going to say he's the greatest guy in the world. But it's like I tell my own wife, you really don't know what's going on behind closed doors. Like I said, I was in a relationship for 19 years, married for 9 of those years. No one knew there was trouble behind closed doors. Everybody thought everything was great. Everybody was saying, yo, I wish I had a situation where I could make 19 years with a person. Man, I don't know what that is. But no one knew there was trouble in paradise. I hadn't informed nobody of that. She hadn't informed nobody of that. So you can go out to parties, you can go out to dinner dates, you can do all of these things. Nobody has a clue what's going on. And that's how you get in certain situations. That's how, because no one has a clue, that's how the good guys make the victim at the end. That's how the one who's really not at fault becomes at fault. Because even when it's over, he's still the good guy and he won't slander her name. But she's going on a promo tour telling and screaming at anybody that listens, he's the worst guy in the world. Now, she'll tell you throughout this whole relationship, he's the best guy in the world. He does this, he does that, he does this, he does that. Now, when it's over, she's going to tell you, hey, yo, your man small. The conversation you was bringing was terrible. I got a guy who make more money than you. I got a man who more cultured than you. I got a man who gonna do all these things for me now. I don't need you. I leveled up. That's cool. What you telling me that for? But now she's doing this, setting the stage for her friends to say, hey, yo, the reason why I really did this was to level up. So see, I leveled up. It's cool. Now in the midst of that, she's gonna say what? Now she's going to start saying you're going to go from the greatest guy in the world to a deadbeat father. You're also going to go to a guy who was incapable of listening, didn't have any compassion, and was just a complete asshole. And that's going to be the narrative. Now, women like Jeannie Mai, they love the so-called nerd, the educated lane. They love that guy, but they'll never be in love with that guy. And there's a big difference. See, at this point, she's in love with Jeezy, and we'll get to that also. But she was never in love with her husband, but he never knew that. And you know why? Because when you go to bed, you have love language. And what is that? Hey, love you, babe. Love you too. Yo, you're the most amazing guy I ever had. You support me. You do this, you do that, you do this. So in his head, everything is great. Never going to know that a bomb is going to get dropped on his head. He won't. Won't be able to see it. Now, she can never be in love with that guy because she doesn't see him as an alpha. So she'll just settle for the guy she's with for the time being until an alpha comes along. Once an alpha comes along, then she'll jet. At that point, what will happen is she will abruptly find an issue to start fighting over. And then come to you and tell you these magical few words right here. I think we need some space. I think a separation is in order. Now, you don't have a clue, but in your head is, hey, I don't want to lose my marriage. I love her. She's the greatest thing that ever happened to me, because that's how simps think. They don't understand, hey, man, it's another bus coming 2 minutes from now, man. I try and tell men this all the time. It's 30 to 40 million single women out here in this country. It's plenty of more than enough options. Believe me, more than enough. But at that point, she's going to try for the separation. Now, in that separation, let me tell you what's happening. She's now with the bad boy. And he blowing her back out. He's giving her everything she wants, but one thing, he won't commit to her. So within that few months separation, she's enjoying herself, has a sexual freedom now. She's getting all of the sex, the way she wants it, all of that. She's able to be a whore inside of her relationship with him. See, she could never be that with you because you're prude. You don't have it in you. When lights go out, you just want missionary, and that's it. So she's getting everything she wants from him. But what's happening? Exactly. He won't commit. So after about 6 months of playing with him, you start pushing and saying, hey, we need to probably move forward with a divorce. Let's start figuring out how to separate and break up these assets, see who's going to get what. And that's when reality is going to hit, that I'm having fun, but he's not going to commit, and I don't want to be alone. So now what's going to happen is she's going to come back to you, and you're going to get a text, and it's going to say, hey, big head on it. Now, you'll get the hey, big head text or hey, stranger, all of those things. Because that's how this game goes with it. It's cat and mouse game. And she's going to give you that to open up the lines of communication again, to see if you started tinkering around with somebody else, if you've gotten serious with that person. What is it? If you've gotten serious with somebody, she's going to now start saying, I made a mistake. I didn't know what I had. Don't throw our family away. Let's go to counseling. She's gonna be pulling super hard now. And you know why? Because now she's gonna understand, hey, it's somebody else who wants them. They're content with that. Why am I not content with that? What's wrong with me? So we get to that phase. And at that point, you're gonna weigh your options. Is it cheaper to keep her as the song goes? Yeah, it is cheaper to keep her. So I'm gonna stay. Now, when you stay, you have to understand she's still sleeping with dude. She's figured out a way now to, you know what? I can stay in this relationship, and every couple of months I can dip out, create a little argument or some tension, have a couple of sessions with this guy for a couple of months, make sure everything is, I can get what I need physically, and then I can go and settle back into my marriage again. We'll go back to counseling, apologize to each other. You know, the whole song and dance, you know, the whole fight, makeup thing. It's just, they love it. But, you know, as we break this down, I'm going to show you some signs and some examples. But I'm going to give you those examples, especially for you men, because I want to help you out. And I want you to be able to start seeing things for what they are. See, that's why I changed the logo. The blue pill is the smallest. It's the one I would hope you wouldn't take. But for the majority of you, you're satisfied taking the blue pill. You don't want to go down that rabbit hole and know what this is all about. I encourage you to take this red pill, though. Come get this truth. Come get this home cooking. It ain't going to hurt. It's going to open your eyes up. So, we're going to first get started right here.
Fear, anger, shame. Fear, anger, shame. Fear, what am I going to, what's going to...
Now, before I start and go into this is her letting people know she was sexually abused as a child.
Happen to our family if I say something and out this person. Anger, why did you just sit there? Why did you let this go on for 4 years?
How old were you when this happened?
I was 9 and it went on until I was about 12.
And you didn't tell anybody?
I didn't tell anybody because this was somebody I really cared about. And there's a little bit of Stockholm syndrome in there too. Because if somebody who's a stranger did it to me, I know what to do. I know how to wild out. I got that down.
Right.
But when it's somebody you trust, somebody you know that you actually are supposed to love or believe in, you just freeze. Mm-hmm. And so it went on for 4 years. And then, 2 years later, I found the strength to say something. Mm-hmm. But if it took me 2 years or it took me...
And not to deviate too far, but that's a pedophile. See, when you're saying somebody just interested in young girls and boys, 8 to 12, that's pre-development. That's a pedophile. Now, when you jump into you wanting to sleep with 17, 18-year-old girls, that's weird, but that's not a pedophile. Those are two different things.
20 years, it does not invalidate
That's right.
What happened. That's right. Jeannie, in your case, you said it was a family member? Yeah. So I think that for many people is really hard because you don't want to hurt your other family members, especially I think sometimes even your parents, you're like, if it's someone from their family and then that puts guilt on them, you almost try to protect your parents in the sense of like, you don't want them to feel bad that they put you in harm's way because it was someone from their family. You know what I'm saying?
It's guilt
so then
and it's
you're protecting.
Now, when you're dealing with a woman who's been abused, that's a tall task. That's a tall order you're dealing with. You're dealing with a woman who's been abused as a child. There's some things you're going to have to deal with. you're going to have to be emotionally mature enough and calm enough to deal with some situations that you normally probably wouldn't deal with somebody else. There are going to be moments of silence. There's going to be moments of over aggression. There's going to be moments of I don't want to have sex. There's going to be moments of I just want to have sex. And the moments when she wants to have sex, sometimes it has nothing to do with really wanting to even be with you. There's an urge at this point about her just wanting to be touched and needing that type of affection. You do have to understand, though, her emotional needs, they will be different than women who haven't been sexually abused. Which, next episode, we'll deal with that. You're going to also understand when you're dealing with a woman who's been sexually abused, she's on a journey to find satisfaction. But for her, that's an endless journey. Because what you find out for a lot of those women is they'll never be satisfied. And they don't even understand why they can't be satisfied. So now you have to be confident enough in yourself to be able to say, it's not me, I'm not the issue. And still continue in that relationship. Not a lot of men are emotionally mature enough to deal with that. So we get to the next video. And I'm playing this for you because I want you to hear how she addresses her ex-husband back then. And it's how when I tell you how you'll never know it's coming. She's going to tell you you're the greatest thing in the world. She's going to tell the world you're the greatest thing in the world. She's going to be smiling, laughing, and everything. But when it's over, she's going to be crying. And I told you, that's the ultimate weapon for a woman is to break down in tears. You cannot, there's nothing you can do about that. It's going to freeze everything going on in the room because for a man, you seem like a monster. Even if you respond, once she breaks down in tears, don't you see she's crying? Shut up and let it be. So for her, she has the ultimate diffuser. And that's tears at the end of the day. Which is why I tell a lot of men, there's really no need to even debate and argue with women because you're going to lose at the end of the day. Because even when she's losing, what she's going to do is get loud, start screaming. And if that doesn't work, then she's going to start crying. And at that point, you're not allowed to say anything else because now it goes from an argument to abuse. Now, they're using the tears to manipulate. They sure are. But it's the way they operate.
Men always say they don't want to go to strip clubs to their wives when they really do want to go to strip clubs. Oh, really?
You give me a strip club or a baseball game? I'm taking baseball game 100 out of 100.
Actually, Jeannie drugged me to a strip club last year for my birthday.
Not surprising. And I was uncomfortable.
I'm telling you, I picked a golden boy here because I married him because there's a reason he stands out differently. It's crazy. Actually.
Now, Lonnie already looking wild because she already know. Chick, you already cheating on him. I almost can promise you she was smashing Jeezy before they got a divorce. I can almost promise you. If you go back and watch those videos of her crying about the divorce, you really don't even see a tear come out. But that's why I'm telling you, they can make the waterworks. They'll start making that voice tremble. And they'll start making the lips quiver. And they'll try and get the waterworks to get started. And even if the eyes tear up or not, because all that's going on, guess what happens? She's the victim. And you're the bully. And just like that, a man who's done nothing wrong is now the perpetrator. And now she's the victim. Just like that.
I'm gonna be nosy, sis.
Now, we're going to go to this next video about when did you know you were in love? And I want you to listen to her husband, or her ex-husband at this point.
This is the real.
When I met Tamara, I was like,
Or
she knew before me.
yeah.
It
I
was.
never knew this.
Because we were so different that I love that, because she was nothing like anyone I've ever been around before. To me, that captivated me, and it was like I don't know so much that I loved her at that point, but I loved her as a person. You know what I mean? I love what she stood for, the way she carried herself, what she believed in, and
One day I'm gonna feel that way. Okay. You know how.
But,
I think I knew before.
she knew before me.
Yeah. Really?
Now, as you can see, all the other ladies, if you ever watch this, they all talk about when they knew. Jeannie never said when she fell in love with this guy, because she never was in love with him. She just had love for dude. He was a means to an end. I didn't want to be alone. As most women, I keep telling you, there's a portrait of a big house, white picket fence, woman standing in front, which represents her, baby in her arms, beautiful manicured lawn in front, but then there's a silhouette. And in that silhouette is the ever-evolving man. It's a revolving door. One day it's me. A year, 2, 3 years from now, it could be somebody else, man. That's the one thing I always tell you guys. These things don't last forever. Whether it be by death, by breakup, by divorce, the relationship will end one day. That's just something that's a guarantee. But we've put ourselves in these things where we take these weird vows, where it's, yo, till death do us part. Well, the death of the relationship is actually death doing its part. The relationship is dead, so I'm out. So technically, you don't break the vows when you get a divorce. And to the tune of, what is it? Over 80% of the women now file for divorce. So it's not the man abandoning the relationship. It's the woman saying she's had enough. Now, of course, because you're dealing with what you're dealing with, this is what you're going to deal with when you're dealing with feminism. It's always the man's fault. It's never their fault. There's never any accountability. And that's not what this episode is about in terms of where that could go. So we're not going to even take that today. But it's right here in this fourth video that I'm about to play for you, this clip right here. Well, when I stumbled upon this, I said, you know what? She had been setting this man didn't have a clue. And she told him back in 2014, I think they got divorced in 2018. She told him 4 years prior, you ain't my type. And at that point, you ain't my type. He still didn't get it, but she wouldn't tell him either. You know why? Because she didn't want him to go be happy with anybody else. Now, what she's going to do, and what most women do, is do what? You know what they're going to tell you? It's men who the narcissists. We the manipulators. She's manipulated this whole situation, though. I ain't going to be alone. So what I'm going to do is lay down next to you every night as if I'm in love with you, knowing I'm not, until I get who I want, what I want. Then I'm out. And we applaud that. We say, way to level up. Way to get out of something you was in too long. Hey, if you figure out it's wrong, get out of it. Right, but what about the damage you did to dude?
Yes, and it was for the same reasons Freddie's saying. I mean, Adam is someone totally. I do find young men who aren't cocky, but they have a certain swag of confidence, where they just think they know everything, and it's not cocky, but they're just kind of like, you don't know.
This is 2014. She's still married to this guy at this point. But I want you to hear just how confident she is to just come and pop off like this on national TV. And I want you to understand, she's married to a white blonde guy. You heard her say, her golden boy. He does not resemble what she's talking about. But what they'll tell you is she never cheated. She wouldn't cheat. Why would she cheat? She's telling you right now in this video, I'm cheating.
I do find young men who aren't cocky, but they have a certain swag of confidence, where they just think they know everything, and it's not cocky, but they're just kind of like, you don't know until you try, and you're like, well, what do youngins know? Yeah, that's what I have no idea of not knowing what the youngins are doing. That, you know what I mean? I don't know. Some young men who have that swag. She said swag. I'm just saying.
Swag.
What is that? A man with swag. I didn't say anything.
Where's my swag town?
She tip on it. His occupation.
Now, when she says swag, we know what she's talking about. And I also want to mention before we get back into this, if you ever see her kiss her ex-husband, it's always a kiss on the cheek. She was always giving him a friend zone kiss. And it's sad that you have to call these things out and no one else is willing to call this out, but I'm going to call it out. You constantly pecking somebody on the cheek, that's a buddy. That's a friend zone kiss. But of course, again, like I said, most simps, most educated lames, most so-called nerds, most beta males, most blue pill guys, they don't see that. They don't understand what's going on. Because to them, we've had the conversation also. They look at it as the same. They're looking for another version of their mother. So when they get that peck on the cheek, it feels like mama kissing them again. So they find well, what's going on at this point.
I mean,
I'm guessing a rapper. She talking about swag. There's only one white rapper. That's Eminem. He's taking. Who else you talking about?
this makes me so uncomfortable. Why are you uncomfortable? Common, I think, is older than me, but he's sorry. He's awesome. I like him. No, he's not younger.
Did you just whisper?
So who's the young rapper?
Now I'm gonna tell you why she said Common name. Because Common and Jeezy both had a bald head, and they both had those beards. But she couldn't say Jeezy. Couldn't blow his cover. And she already knew Common was in a relationship. Hell, Common always in a relationship. So that's safe to say Common. Plus, every woman gonna say Common. So you safe right there. You'll notice, though, well, I'll let you guys hear it.
Hey, what swag you talking about?
Was Common younger than you?
Hey, G,
Yeah.
me. Who's this little young rapper you talking about with swag?
Okay. There are times when, because I mean,
Name, okay?
oh no, but it's okay. When I do red carpet, like when I do red carpet shows and award shows, and they come by and they've got that thing.
Who's they? Who?
That's like, hey, baby.
Who you talking about?
Now, national TV right now is a married woman. This woman is blushing. And what is that telling you? Yo, they get my oven hot. They get the microwave cooking, man. They got the toaster oven going over here. So, see, that's what I'm telling you. She don't have no sex appeal, and she don't sense that little sense of danger from you. You don't have that hood, that thug, that bad boy in you. Whenever she find him, she gonna leave you. She's gonna leave you for him. That I can promise you.
I think Frank Ocean, he has swag that I love. Oh, he does.
Now she picked Frank Ocean, an openly gay guy. That's again bullshit. But again, she's terrified now because she understands, yo, I done stepped off the cliff with this topic. Now I really can't say who I need to say because it could have not been Jeezy, to be honest with you. Could have been somebody else younger. But she's letting you know at this point. And I try and tell guys, when you see women who in Jordans, you see women of other ethnicities in Jordans, hoop earrings, fitted hats, jumpsuits with Jordans and L1s or dunks on. Those are women in the Latino brothers and black men. Now they can't come out and say it. So what they try and do is show you, by dress. Yo, this is what I do, man. It's how I do it. So, for you men, be mindful when you see certain women checking you out like that. You see it with the hoop earrings, certain things like that, hair in a ponytail, Jordans on, the little cross trainer, Nikes, Air Max, stuff like that. She's code switching. She's sending you signals. But Jeannie Mai is telling you what? I'm not into white dudes. But she married to one right now. And be mindful of that. Because when she plays the victim later on, we're going to come back to this.
Okay, but he is, yes, I know. Okay, but gosh,
I didn't say damn.
Okay.
At least 2 years, she lying. Who?
It's okay.
But
Oh my God. Okay.
I'm having a conversation with you too.
Oh.
Fabulous gave me a little bit of a time.
Now, she know Fab with Emily B. She know she don't compare to Emily B. She know that's not attainable. So she'll say somebody like Fab. She's not going to say no man that's single, because what does that do now? That really puts the red light, the infrared, dead on her head. She ain't trying to get that type of attention.
I like him.
Who he gonna get you?
How old is he? Isn't he like, how old is he?
He's about our age, 30-something.
Yeah.
He ain't young.
He's not young. He
Thank
looks
you.
young. Fab looks super young.
You know who I think you like? Who? Wiz Khalifa. Because he got a lot of tats like you. He's
Right.
cool.
And he likes his hair different colors now too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice to death. You have to see that.
But you're married though. You're not looking at him.
Because Miss Amber Rose could have hurt a little.
Man, you heard what she said? I'm going to take that back so you can hear that again.
Fabulous gave me a little bit of a time. I like him.
Who he gonna get you?
How old is he? Isn't he like, how old is he?
He's about our age, 30-something.
Yeah.
He ain't young.
He's not young. He
Thank
looks
you.
young. Fab looks super young.
You know who I think you like?
Who?
Wiz Khalifa. Because he got a lot of tats like you. He's
Right.
cool.
And he likes his hair different colors now too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice to death. You have to see that.
But you're married though. You're not looking.
I can see that. I can see that. I can see myself giving it up to her if she hadn't already. And this is why I tell you, man, again, marriage a bad contract, man. If it wasn't for us living in this country and damn near being forced to make sure our partners are covered insurance-wise and life insurance-wise, and we could leave certain things to them and have them carry out our final wishes, there's really no benefit for a man to get married. There just really isn't. So now we go to the next video.
Do you think that your ex-husband wanting children, was that a major decision in you wanting to get a divorce?
Now that we get ready to go down this road, I want you to now understand, because this is when I told you, they'll pick a fight and they'll start telling you, yo, I'm just trying to give you what you want. I'm doing you a favor. I think we just need space now because I don't really want what you want anymore. Or I never wanted what you wanted. But I know you want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, I know you want it. I can't give it to you. So I'm letting you go free so you can go have that. That's how this game works, man. They are shrewd operators, man. Very shrewd operators. And if your mind don't work a certain way, man, you can get put into a box with these ladies, man, and you won't come out.
That was definitely one of the big main factors, because when we were dating, I was always very vocal because I'll never lead a man on when I know that I didn't want to have children. So I was always honest about that. And I think we were both so young, it was like...
Now, I want you to know that she said, I'll never lead a man on, especially when it's about children. Now, what's interesting is we're now 3 years later and she's pregnant with Jeezy's baby, but she never wanted children. And again, these are the games that get played. Because this man could have, 5 to 6 children at this point in time. But he wasted 14 years with somebody who just wanted to play house with him. She enjoyed him as a friend. She enjoyed his company, didn't want to be alone, was finding herself. And once she found herself, she said, you know what? I don't need you no more. I found myself. And now that I found myself, I don't really need you in my life in that manner anymore. I don't need to be codependent on you. You can go.
$14 ago, I think he also thought, you know what, we're so in love, I don't want that either. And to be honest, he could have been happy not having children with me. But when you physically...
So now you hear that. He could have been happy not having children with me. Yet you left him because you didn't want to keep him from having children. So you made a decision for him. And see, that's the BS that happens. They'll start making it seem like they did you a favor. They did it out of love, when in fact, she just didn't want to be with him anymore. But this is when I tell you, they'll find something present that they can latch onto to get out. And they'll blame that current situation, whatever's going on in the moment right now. They'll blame that and say, yeah, this is it. And I just can't do it no more. Then they'll start adding stuff from the past onto that. But what they need first is the foundation to then write that paper to say, hey, this is why I need to get out.
We see how a man is with a child, and the man really desires to be a father, and you know that you are that block between that happening, you just don't feel right about yourself every single day.
That's real big of you, because you could have been selfish and been like,
She was selfish for 14 years. And now she's feeding us BS, saying for 14 years, you knew he wanted children. You don't want children. And now after 14 years is, hey, you know what? I'm going to set you free, man. I know you ain't pressed me about having no children. It's not really a big deal for you to have children. But I see the way you hold little babies. And I think you'll be a great father. So let me tell you what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to do you a favor and let you go free to go have a child. Because I don't want children. And at least I don't want them with you. Which is what she should have come out and say from the jump. Or whenever she felt that, hey, I want children. I just don't want them with you. But she knew how that would sound. And she knew how she would come off at that point. And she has an image to uphold as the nice guy. Or the nice lady. Which is what a lot of women try and do. Hold on to the image of I'm the nice lady. But in fact, you can just say it. And a lot of times, it just is what it is, man. And we won't have to play games with a lot of this stuff.
Give it up. That's love right there. You're able to release somebody to their happiness. And I wish that for him now. I literally, honestly, in my list of prayers, I pray happiness for him every single day. And I pray because he's getting at the age where I'm like, now, like at some time, I just pray for love and I pray for that.
Right. Now you hear what the girl said, her friends, well, her co-host? That's love. You released him. She released him. Listen to that word. You released him so that he could go be happy and have a child. Not that you was enough and the relationship was already fulfilling for him. He needed a child with another woman in a relationship that may not be as fulfilling, but you feel like the child was more important than you guys' relationship to him. But this is how they start to finagle and rework things to start playing the victim. But see, first, that's one of the first things they do. And I'm going to give y'all game with this one. Is they're going to first say, look, I'm willing to split this or give you this out of love. Let's not make this any worse than what it needs to be. You can have this, you can have that. We can do joint custody here. We can do this there. That's only if you haven't cheated. Now, if you cheated, she taking you for everything, and you just going to see the venom come out right at the beginning. But if she's tired of you, she's going to try and give you everything she can to make it amicable. And at that point, that's when you need to know as a man, if she ain't fighting you on nothing, she done with you, dog. And she already got somebody else. So now, I want you to remember when she said she doesn't believe in leading somebody on. Because I'm going to let you in now. These are the conversations that us as men aren't privy to.
If it's been a year since, hand to heart, I swear, any woman who has been divorced, in that year, you have red flags if it's not going to work. I didn't. Isn't that real, guys? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying.
Right.
And sometimes it's best to nip it in the bud. That women's intuition. And I've said it before. Like, if you really,
when did you know?
I knew a year for sure.
When you got married?
Yes.
Y'all were married for 10 years.
I know because and I think this is the part where I'm still having a
You can't make this up, man. You can't make it up. She's going to hand you herself on a silver platter. Silver platter, but you can't make it up. What do we get right there? Hey, man, I knew a year in we wasn't right and it wasn't going to work. Yet you just got through saying, hey, man, I don't believe in leading nobody on. But you knew a year in that you didn't want to be in it. And yet you're going to play the victim at the end when you wasted a man's time. And see, if you was together 14 years and you was married 10, you knew before that year you got married that it wasn't going to work. But you wanted to be married. You wanted to be someone's wife. And you wanted to be able to have somebody on your arm to say, yo, this is my husband. He loves me. You wanted to be able to come home to somebody, lay on his chest, lay on his shoulder, feel secure. Have somebody hold you at night, kiss you on the forehead. All those things. But she did all of this out of selfish reasons. And this is why I told you, she may love dude, but she never was in love with him. And to say I knew a year in that that the marriage wasn't going to work, I would even doubt if she even really loved the guy. And this was more so something like a toy thing, he was more like a soothing device for her.
Conversation with myself. I was going to ask, damn, why did you wait so long?
Yeah.
Right.
But as a woman, and I'm proud of this trait that I have, I'm loyal as
Right.
I really am. And when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And it's another human being who put all of this hope into trying to make it work. So you're going to try. And so I'm as much as I'm proud of myself,
She's loyal, but she's divorced. But this is, again, I told you, this is how they play the victim.
also like, you don't have to wait so long when you know what's right for you. Ding, ding, ding. Almost every single person that I know that has gotten divorced says they absolutely knew it.
Oh, wait.
Every single person, and it's not them being dramatic or being like, I knew it the first day just because, it didn't work out.
You said they knew early on in the marriage.
Almost every single person I knew one of two things. One, they never should have done it in the first place.
Wow.
They felt that there were other voices in their ears that said they should do it, or they felt forced into it, or they felt pressured. That's the number one thing. And number two, almost every single person says within the first year, yes, they knew, wow, I've made a mistake.
Now we get to the damsel in distress. Because this is the other role they like to play. This is when the script gets flipped.
To this day, I mean it honestly, he's the best man I know.
We love Freddie. We
He
love
really
Freddie.
is. I married him because he's like my dad. He's very loyal, very compassionate, so funny, an awesome guy. And
Now, we listen to this because when we get it to the next one, I do want you to understand how the script gets flipped that quick.
And in our 13 years of being together, there was never any lies, no betrayal, no cheating, nothing.
Now, you also have to understand now the tears come down her eyes at this point either. But she just told you he was the golden boy, just like her father, loyal, compassion, provider, funny, did it all for her. And he told her he wasn't pressed for kids. He wanted to be with her whether they had kids or not. Yet she left him anyway. And this is why I tell you, when she becomes bored, she's out. See, the enjoyment for a lot of this is things that I can change about you. So once they can change you from A to B, there's nothing to work on. And once there's nothing for them to work on, see, women love to complain and nag. So once there's nothing to complain and nag about, they become bored. So now they need a new challenge. And once they need a new challenge, you out. See, they understand when they get that bad boy, they'll never be able to completely turn him into what they want him to be. Because by nature, he's going to always be an alpha and he's going to always give her a middle finger for some things. Just by nature. So she'll always be figuring out different ways to make him happy and how to change that. Now, if she ever succeeds, and some women have succeeded, she'll leave him too. Now, of course, those women don't usually leave those relationships alive, but she'll leave him too, because usually you leave Mike, he killing you and killing himself.
so I want to say to, you ladies, you guys have known from season 1, I'm always honest about things we struggled through. I was real, man, sometimes too real for everybody to have an opinion about, but it took us time, and you guys are so supportive, and I love our real fam and friends out there who know that it's not about taking sides,
Right.
It's about loving what you go through.
I'm taking Freddie's side.
And Lonnie was real, because she wished Freddie and his new girlfriend, they had a baby. She wished him, told him congratulations for it, all of that. So it lets you know what their relationship is. But what I will tell you is what? Them women never bashed that man. None of them. Now, I told you that a woman is never going to go against code, and she ain't going to violate that code. So at that point, what do we have? They'll sit quiet while she craps on him and basically says he ain't worth nothing anymore and he's the worst guy known to man. But they won't ever do that because they've never experienced that. So now we get to this.
A user on Reddit recently asked the community this question: What do you wish you'd known sooner in life? Now, people are really taking off on this seriously, and they've opened up. For example, some users admitted they wish that they had been better with their money, while others shared stories about how they wish they'd known to appreciate their loved ones while they were still around.
Wow.
So, ladies, knowing what you know now, is there anything you wish you'd learned sooner? Well, not everybody at once.
No, I'm thinking about this question because, when you get to your 40s, we're almost, I'm almost there.
Mm-hmm.
You just really have.
And before this was a softball question. I wouldn't be surprised when she wrote this question so she could unload on them. This is when I was telling you, this is now when the narrative about to get flipped.
Much to reflect upon. And for me, if I'm really honest, knowing what I know now about who I married, I wouldn't have married him.
Oh.
Yeah, no.
Now again, we just listened to her say what? I wish him well. I wish him the best. He was the greatest guy I've met. Remind me of my father, loyal, never cheated, never beat me, never yelled, funny, all of this. And now what do we have? I wish I never married him. And this is how it happens. Because now I got to play the victim. Because now I've said this guy is such a good guy that now it must be my fault. And since I don't want you blaming me, because I don't want to be held accountable for any of my actions, I'm going to play the victim. And I'll cry and make him the bad guy.
I know. I don't mean to get that serious, but I'm just saying this out there because it's just crazy. You hear all the time that money can change people. Well, divorce can really change people. And it's just so weird because the one thing that he would always say back then is like.
And the one thing I will say is the divorce probably changed him because she forced it on him. She divorced him because she said, I wanted you to have kids. I don't want kids. It's amazing. Now, 3 years later, you're pregnant with a rapper's baby. But like I said, that's another episode for another time. But you ended all of that because you didn't really want his baby. But he told you, I was fine without having, I didn't need children. I just wanted you. But you then went a step further to say, no, you're good around kids. You need to be a father. You need to experience that. And I don't want kids, so you need to experience that with somebody. I'm out. Of course I would be upset because now you're thinking for me. I'm telling you I'm cool. But instead of you being honest, saying, hey, yo, I really don't want to be with you no more. I'm vibing with these rappers over here. I like they swag. I want to hang out with them. I don't want to hang with you. I'm ready to end it. That could have went just fine. But again, if she would have did that, then she knew black women would have cut her up. Her own culture would have cut her up. The media would have cut her up. And she wasn't willing to be held accountable and responsible for that. So she came up with a cockamamie story that, hey, he wanted kids. Well, he looked like he would be a great father. So I'm going to just divorce him so he can find him a woman to go have a kid with. Now, of course, he did go find a woman to have a kid with. But he didn't want one. And if he did want one, he told her, I'm fine without having one. And even more than that, you end up getting pregnant, which you told him you didn't want kids, and now you're pregnant. So that means that, right, you really just didn't want to be with the guy, which you stated already. You knew a year in it wasn't for you.
You really truly don't know a person until they don't get what they want. But I never thought he would be the one to prove that to me, you know?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jeannie.
So, yeah, it's just hard because
It's okay. Take your time. You know, this is the thing about marriage and love. You did make a mistake. You know, I think that.
Now, a tear ain't came down yet. So she decides to put her head down in the tissue and sniff for a little bit. Because again, we love the damsel in distress. And no matter how bad things are, ain't nobody gonna yell at a crying woman. Just ain't gonna happen.
Is done by mistake. It's life lessons. And the thing is, okay, I want to If it's not right for you, get out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's
And the OG Lonnie Love was right about that. If it ain't right for you, get out of it. Now, well, we will go.
He deserved and like that. Here's where just in my situation, I can only speak.
Now, this is the last video I'm gonna play. Where she now tells you the difference between her ex and Jeezy. And it's one more time to crap on her, but it's now a way to do what? Boost the new guy up and make it look like I did what? I leveled up. That I didn't go from nice, good guy, all of this, to a hood guy. I'm going to turn the guy I told you was the greatest guy I ever met, remind me of my father. I'm going to drop him down a few notches and raise the hood, supposedly thug guy up above him. That's how she spent it.
My experience. I never grew up with Cinderella syndrome because I knew those white girls wasn't my story, honestly. And I even didn't want to be married, okay? So I think if you look back at seasons where I gave a lot of credit, it was because my own standards were low. And that is just from, I mean, we can go into a whole counseling session as to why I only gave myself that bare minimum. So I'm not blaming my ex for the things that he barely came through to do. I was just like, when you say, oh.
See, now, this is a way now to say, erase everything she said about it. Look, I know I told y'all he was a great guy, but my standards were low. So since my standards was low, I didn't really know what a great guy was. Now, we ain't going to even talk about all of the reports from Jeezy baby mothers and Keisha Cole about what type of guy he is with women, and that's cool. Everybody can evolve and mature. So if he's developed into a better guy now, that's fine. But I know what she said about her ex-husband. We've heard it. And now we look and we hear a woman say, what? My standards was low. Now, her standards was low, but I want you to hear what makes Jeezy better than her husband.
Good for you. You did that documentary, or that's cool. And I'm like, great, he supports me. Awesome. That to me is now my standard of support. I didn't know for two things. I didn't know until, honestly, my new relationship that even something as basic as, oh my God, I'm not trying to feel bad for me. I'm just like, it was so touchy. But like, even something as basic as like...
Now again, not a tear has come down. But again, I told you, the waterworks will fall. This is how they garner sympathy. This is how they operate.
His birthday party, he left to go, left his birthday party to drive me to the airport to Atlanta. And I was like, yo, I can Uber. Like, I Uber my whole life. I've Ubered through my marriage. I'm good. And he was looking at me like, are you crazy? Like, I need to see you off. I'm driving to you. That's me. So I'm just saying, you can blame or you can say or not blame, but just be mindful of your standards. And sometimes for me, being alone in that time that I took to myself was my upgrade. That was my
upgrade. Oh, boy. Now, like I said, we just went from the greatest guy in the world to he was supportive. And yeah, he was supportive about shows and directorials and all this stuff she was doing. But her bar was low. Her bar was raised when she met a guy who left his own birthday party to drive her to the airport. That's what raised the bar. You can't make this up, man. And in her head, it all makes sense. It all sounds good, gooey, romantic. When in fact, all this ever was about was, I didn't want to be alone. I didn't want to be alone. So I decided to marry somebody who I knew I wasn't in love with, who didn't sexually satisfy me, who didn't fit the criteria of the man I wanted. And because of that, he wanted children, and I told him I wasn't willing to have children. So he said, fine, I won't have children. I just want to be with you. And for 14 years, we stayed in that relationship. 10 of it, we was married. At the end, I found myself mid-30s, mid to late 30s, got tired, said, you know what, I don't have to put up with this anymore. I do want children, but it ain't going to be with him. And I'm tired of being sexually unsatisfied and sexually unfulfilled. So now this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to walk in here now and tell you what. You'll be a great father. And I think you deserve to be a great father. Just not with me. I don't want children. So let's get a divorce. Yeah, but I'm cool with us not having children, babe. What are you talking? Yeah, but I don't want to feel like I'm robbing you of having children. You've been robbing them of having children. Yeah, but I'm tired of being selfish right now. So I'm going to grant you your divorce. Then we get on and we say, what, you're the greatest guy, this, that. You remind me of my father. You're loyal. You're nice. No one ever cheated. You wasn't yelling. You wasn't doing any of these things. You was funny. He was all these things. And then we flipped it on his head. And what did we get? I knew a year in, I made a mistake marrying this guy. This wasn't going to last. Then we get to what? If I knew what I knew now, I wouldn't have married this guy. He's terrible. He showed me who he is through the divorce. Then we get to all these great things he was. She shot those all down now to say what? Jeezy is better than him because he left his birthday party and drove me to the airport. Hey, man, you fellas be safe out there, man. It's your boy, the Hood Nerd, man. I'm out.